Beautiful people back, and it's 2021. Yeah, the year of the vaccine. Welcome, welcome indeed. Thank you for all your support and shares that you're giving me right now and before this. I truly appreciate that. That's the only currency we ask for running out of our streams for you, to give you updates on the crypto market, because it's the crypto sniper coming at you. Yes, so much has happened. Yes, so much. What a lovely long weekend stroke Christmas festive season it was for the crypto markets, but the volatility is back on the first working day, and that was to be expected. And I want to wish you all a happy festives for just gone belatedly, and also all the best for the new year. In fact, this very stream that we're about to do is all about not only ensuring you survive the kind of volatility you just saw this morning, which would have had a few people getting a bit sick, nauseous. The boat did rock a little bit, didn't it? No, don't do that. So yeah, how do you survive that kind of event? And more importantly, the opportunity in truly maxing this baby out, because this will be the full year where you're going to get the full horn of the Bitcoin coming back, and the crypto markets generally. So what's happening? Yes, so let's go. Oh, a couple of things. So you've done a share for us. The merch is below. By the way, you want some understanding of how to trade in this environment? Well, you largely need to be long. You largely have to use very little leverage. And when you do, it's got to be truly timed. So what you'll learn from us today is something that our true full-blown community are starting to learn and continuing to enforce. And we're updating regularly during the course of this period, is when are those key inflection points that very tight risk exists and a major surge move to the upside. Asymmetry. Asymmetry means not equal. That means the element that is downside for you can be very tightly curtailed, and you can be largely sized for a very curtailed loss for catching a surge move. And we'll show you a couple of places where it has rained generously down upon us. Manna from heaven, he preacheth. So saith he, and the brethren of the beautiful community, some of which will be in today. Shout out to all my guys just popping on for the free review. Good to see you all there. Also in the comments, do post your comments. I have another screen here. I will be looking and I'll be talking to you. We'll give it a lengthy one because it's the beginning of the new year. I've got lots of very interesting, valuable things to share with you, in fact, technically. So we'll go through some of those and a couple of thoughts fundamentally on why this time is a little bit different. Beware the man who says this time is different. Why, however, that indeed for me, there will be a degree of this time is different for what we will experience this year. And you could potentially come out of this retirement wealthy, no matter where you start. That's if you play it properly. But real method is required. Book a call on the link below if you want to. It's totally optional. It's a free world. You got your communism coming to you from the dark state. You don't need it from me. But I can say it could be the difference of having a bit of fiat to throw at the dark forces to buy yourself some freedom as they come rumbling in. Okay, lots of things to talk about. But before I even go to the charts, what about that Monero? Little bit news item. Delisting. Now, Shapeshift let them go. And of course, Bittrex struggling to be an exchange. These are people that are sucking up to the control structures. The original liberty of crypto is going. Privacy is sin. Your privacy is sin. Government wants, deserves, and will assert the right to hear everything you say through their little tape recorder prison tag they give you to carry around that you cling to. Because it supposedly is useful at times. So that's a big news item. In the longer run, when big money is made, the role for Monero will be bigger than ever. And the fact that they're getting delisting highlights its use. They're also getting lots of attacks if you follow the Reddit. That leads to a very robust, well set up coin. I wonder who might be attacking them. So don't forget, just because it's not pumping now, its use and time will come as privacy. Do you have a methodology for cashing out? What if I 5x'd your Bitcoin for you in my community by the end of this year and Bitcoin's trading 100 grand? What if I 10x, 20x'd it? Well, I won't be doing it. You'd be doing it, but you'd be smart like that because you'd be learning. How are you going to take that wealth out and buy your new home, all the new vehicles, look after your family without paying a ridiculous amount to the tax extractors that come? Also, you can send an email to support if you wish to talk about that. Support at the Market Sniper. Let's get to some charts. So much rambling and chatting. Let's get to the charts. How are you guys doing? Tell me where you're checking in at. We're doing this early today, by the way. So we're trying to vary our live streams. Previously, a lot of them have been sort of American waking up time, European more late afternoon. We're doing this one a tad earlier. It's midday. We want to also catch our Australian friends. Tell us if you're in from Aussie, Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, where are you? Or if you're from Hong Kong, anywhere on the eastern side and it's already late for you. We like to know where you are, where we're going to get the best attendance numbers, because this will affect us. 339 of you watching and 90 likes already. Thank you for those 90 likes. If we got 90 shares, we'd be doubly impressed. Let's go to the charts. Bitcoin. Let's start with the God market. There he blows indeed. So what you might have noticed, if I just show you this chart here, and before I do that, there's always this little bit of an element with everybody is after timing. People will always say, yeah, we said that might happen, yeah, after the fact. Well, inside our lovely community, I was quite concerned about the structure. There it was over there before this was happened. So we've just had a blinder of a week. So what's happened in terms of our method that you guys can learn from? Once you run our key target level, the volatility goes up. This is going to be an overperformance event, but the volatility goes up. Now it can do one of two things when it runs your key level. It can smash down with high volatility, high speed. That gives you volatility. And the thing that pushes up your volatility measures when you have historical volatility along the bottom is fast moves to the upside followed by fast moves to the downside. If you get steady, consistent mooning, actually, it doesn't have to lead to extremely high volatility. It's when it's thrashing, when it gets smacked, then pumps, then smacks. It's actually the whiplash. It's kind of like driving, sitting next to your wife when she's driving or parallel parking. Sorry, ladies. I'm so sorry. I'm so politically incorrect. In fact, it's like when the men are driving. I'll take it back. Anyway, so the whole point is there's a bit of this, and that's why I was doing the little seasickness thing. So what's happened is we pivoted. You can either crash that after you run a key level for us, or the opposite occurs. And in an overperformance environment, often the opposite occurs. So you went from 25,700 and then you actually go extremely first strong to the upside. You almost made 35 by most measures. In fact, we're looking at the 34.8 on this little chart that was Binance Tether. And I think it was actually a little bit higher on some others. Doesn't matter. You're knocking on the door of 35K at one point there. After literally pivoting wildly here, really strongly up, you got your first little stab that warned you that there's some volatility kicking in. All of this jacks your volatility index up because you go wee all the way up, rocket booster, you make your 33,000. Your Masonic number, then you come pumping it back down, and you virtually, in most exchanges, you actually bounced on the 30K, key level of significance. This is Binance Tether. Tether's a little bit different that way. It's not exactly a dollar. And then you snap even higher on the rebound. So this is already showing you the whiplashing season is coming. The easiest, least volatile part of the move was in our in-play area of our macro first cup gold nugget HVF that you heard about here, that we were the first to tell you. Everybody's got the draw now. I see all these mega follower technical analysts, they're drawing the big wedge. Remember at RH2 when it turned at 14K, we said it's not doing an all-time high loop, next all-time high simple. We're going to get a full-scale macro continuation pattern. And we said that on the big time frame charts long time ago when we started to get the resistance. Let's go big time frame and remind us where we are on the super macros, because you've got to remember where you've come to know where you're going. I'm going to take the eyeball off that. Over here with these wicks over there, we said that's it. You're getting a big time frame continuation pattern. Grab the pen, let's do some drawing. So you know about this fella, but sometimes we have to recap. There might be new people. Now everybody's drawing this guy. Everybody's now joined this guy. This is what you get here. And you heard here that this is going to be a bull to end all bulls. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that before we go into the lower time frame. So you're going to learn a little bit about key inflection points, how you could have made a whole bunch more money if you were in with us. Some of which we were really strong on, some of which we thought would happen, but we waited to have happen because it was a little bit of an either way thing. So it doesn't mean we never have 100% certainty. Beware the man who has 100% certainty in these games. But the probability is exceedingly high that we're going to have an all singing, all dancing mega bull. So when I have a look at these tweets, by the way, so let's just cover a couple of big fundamental issues. I've gone up to the big time frame and I want to cover a big bunch of really interesting big fundamental points as well. So it's as good as time as any to handle that. Is over here we said to you, this will be a pullback. That means we're going continuation. And everyone else was highs, new all-time highs, because to them it's all just like that. And the reason, it was a bit of a spoiler for many people, because you had to sit through this, and we were all asking, when's the low coming? We didn't get the idea that the COVID low would actually come all the way back down over here, not much lower, not much higher than the previous low. But it was a spike low, extreme volatility, and then you got very powerful snapback going on in here. But, so, what do we need to understand about all of this? The fact that you're getting a 2.5 year setup, where that was your high point, and you have the whole triangle, as I drew it, symmetrical triangle, as traditional technical analysts would call it. We have a far better way of trading that. You'll learn all about it. But anyway, this is going to mean that you have a much longer gestation pattern, and it will lead to a far larger move in our worldview. So the traditional guys that are doing amazing stuff, I mean, I love this. This is an awesome tweet, and it's very insightful, and I learn a bunch from it. But there's something they don't have that, whoops, not that one, there we go, that will help you a great deal. Is they are doing the 4-year halvening cycle and comparing it cycle to cycle. So they're saying, look, so far we're somewhere in between the first, which is always going to be difficult to beat in their worldview. The very first, the biggest pump, the lowest value, the least amount of money needed to push it up, etc., early adoption. And I'll throw a little bit of a curveball on that assumption to a degree. Then this is our second halvening. So this is 2013. Down here, the blue one. 2017 is the red. And we're currently drawing the line for the 2021 cycle. Now, typically, the 17 was the high. 13 top was very much the high. And the guys are expecting the high. And you know what? When a whole bunch of people are all expecting something all at the same time, they're going to be wrong. So what's going to happen is everyone's going to think, well, 2021 December, that's the game. Whatever it is at that value, I'm out. And I can say to you that some people will forward guess that. So they'll be getting out in October, November. And everything will change a little bit. It often rhymes. It's not exactly the same. And then I'm going to say to you, there's a reason why I think this cycle will be bigger and even longer, potentially, than the previous cycle. I'm pretty confident of that. I would say that to 65, 70%. And I think in parts, its curve can potentially outperform the very original 2013 cycle. I'm not going to go out and say, it absolutely will outperform it, but I think there's a chance actually it will, that most people are undervaluing. Everyone is saying, well, you know, you get diminishing returns and it just gets softer with each progressive cycle. There is something different about this one. And that's useful because we have the reset mentality. Superman, that's it, in there. Reset is different. Reset is scale. So I want to show you something that's called normal curve theory. And it's typical about how technology gets adopted. It's not perfect. Not everything fits amazingly into a normal curve, but I'm going to draw it with lines on top of this lovely chart here that was provided by us. Give credit to Follow Typerbole, Coin Metrics, good guys, doing interesting stuff, lovely thread, Typer, Typerbole, for this kind of analysis, great stuff. Truly grateful to see what he's doing out there. Anyway, so what's the normal curve got to do with any of this? Because this is 4-year cycle halvening. Well, this is more about the adoption and the acceptance of crypto. And you see, the first time when all of this happened, this was the pioneers. And a couple of guys that wanted to buy acid on, what was it, Pirate Bay or whatever the case may be. So that was the real early doors guys, which I can lay no claim to being. I thought it was some stupid gamer toy for buying a better gun to shoot somebody and didn't want to hear too much about it. I'm a serious trader. Little did I know that I would be revisiting that view, as we all do, So what is a normal curve? Typically it looks a bit like this. I'll grab a light blue. And this is about how things get adopted. And it looks something like that. And these are called tails. And then you get the big fat middle. Something like that. Now the bulk of the pig that is in the python comes in the larger middle, Mr. Joe Average. And Mr. Joe Average is still not yet in Bitcoin. And let me just say, it's not only the person, the individual, up until this period over here. Let's color in TG pink because it matters most and is a beautiful color. This is all just individual Joe Schmo, techie guys, geeks, and libertarians. Yeah. And so more and more we got into investors, small individuals. What started to happen with the whole Michael Saylor, Square, Cube, PayPal, MicroStrategy, etc., is now we're getting the real money of institutions. Now, institutions they move slow. They're big corporate. They're accountants that don't allow things to happen and say, isn't that risky? Isn't it for buying AK-47s on the internet, etc., etc. So there's a whole wave of slow motion education that has to go top down, directors, boards. They're old fuddy-duddy men of experience that play defense more than attack. Yes, you get innovators in corporates, but most corporations play not to lose big money. So there's a herd mentality. They don't want to be caught out last moving into Bitcoin and looking like the dumbest guy in the room. They don't want to look like the speculative moron that made a mistake in something that was just a gamer token for buying a better gun to shoot your enemies in a toy either. So what tends to happen is there starts to be a dribble and then there becomes a surge. So the reason why I assess that this overall cycle will be significantly larger is because we're combining the 4-year cycle of the halvening, but we're having to fit the pig that is sitting in the python's belly going through here in terms of new money. And I've often referred to Jupiter having to fit into my coronavirus ball in terms of scale. Quadrillions in derivatives, hundreds of trillions in market debt, bond markets. You've got hundreds and trillions in equity that is also deemed a defense against devaluing fiat. Fiat is dying. UBI is coming. Proliferation, modern monetary theory. The big Bolshevik experiment is here and it's happening, whether you want it or not. So you've got a lot of dosh to fit in a ball that's got to get really stretchy kind of soon. So in terms of where we are market cap wise, even with the current events, let me have a little latest and greatest head up for you. Total market cap is 875 billion. There's corporations bigger than that. Apple, that sells prisoner tags, is 2.5 times that at the moment. A single company, and it's not the only company you can buy your prisoner tag from. So the whole point of this is that there is a lot more scale if you're talking about your world store of value of electronic nature. So this fat period that's we are about to hit in my world view, my assessment is that you are here. Sniper sights somewhere around here. And you're about to go for the most parabolic amount of money that needs to come in. This is the biggest acceleration part, and it's coming here. It starts like that and it just goes until eventually you're doing that. That is going to lead to the greatest price appreciation. Yes, tons of people this is Joe average, by the way, the green line. There are tons of people that are a bit below average, but will be following pretty closely their mates. There's an awful amount of money there, but by that point, the market's already substantially bigger by market cap. The percentage they will move the price when their money and the funds, we're talking about also corporations, which are just slightly slower than the others in terms of holding treasury and Bitcoin, etc. By the time they come in, this will already have all this area under here as market cap of money that's moved in. We're about to hit, so the rate of change of this line, not the first, we're talking about the second derivative here. The rate of change of this adoption curve is about to get much faster. And that's going to do funky stuff on this green line that most people may not even perceive possible. You could indeed do something like that in parts is exceeding 1, or it could indeed entirely exceed. Just because there's so much new money that has to find its way in, and the ones that have only put in 1% now realize they should have put in 10. Okay, and that's big institutional money. So that's why there's a chance this time is different. This is the great reset, guys. Everyone always asks me, I want to trade reset. When's it happening? It's happening. It's already happening. It's been happening. It's been building up, and you're getting to the sliding down the hole. That's why you're getting so much social manipulation, so much pharmaceutical manipulation, so much attacks on your physical autonomy and what's allowed to go in there. You're getting the whole bang shoot. You're being distracted on so many fronts. The whole agenda is being escalated simultaneously. So it's impossible for you to focus on any one single aspect, to realize that shit, there's bombs going off everywhere. First it's lull and then it's chaos. It's like war. When you're launching war, it is war. Why did I say it's like war? It is war. It's their war against you. You know what I mean? That's how war is. It's 99.9% sitting around bored out of your skull and 0.1% pure chaos. And there's just things blowing up everywhere all of a sudden. And that's the state we're in. We're in the state in terms of that. So hopefully that you understand why I am super bull. The dips will disappoint. Everyone watching this will sell too soon. Hear that again? Because I'm going to remind you I said this. The dips will disappoint. You've just had a pretty serious one. But in the grand macro of things, what is it? It's a moderate sized red candle who's already building a lower wick right now. Some of my guys are saying, do we buy the dip? I'm saying if you're in leverage, you really should, you should be very careful. You need a tight stop. But I suspect a continuation pattern to come here, and that entry could indeed be brilliant. But if you're trading to warn people against leverage trading, if you've got fiat that you haven't committed to the Bitcoin or the Ethereum market, and we're going to talk about both tokens, where I say to you once again, boring it sounds. I'm talking about the two biggest coins. Why aren't I talking about sexy coin this and that? Everybody has a penny stock hero inside them. Stamp it out. It's bad for your wealth. I know it. I lived it for 15 years. Yes, Polkadot did whatever it damn well did. Your God market is Bitcoin, and your strongest, most significant alt is Ethereum. And 80% of what I do, in fact, I'd probably say 85 to 90% is those two coins. Yes, I'll have a little double on a short time frame pattern if one is looking particularly better than another. Saw a guy, Litecoin he traded. Really upset. Got stopped out on Litecoin. Let's just show you this. Tales from the crypt. What's not allowed to have happen to yourself. This is pain that can be visited upon ye. And trading Litecoin, the 5th biggest coin on Kraken exchange, and he got dipped out with a huge, and he's complaining. And I'm afraid to say that it can happen. 90% of what you should do should be on the major tokens. Let me grab that tweets there. Was an ex-student posts. Let's see his posts. He's complaining to Kraken support. Let me just see. And to Rob, I would say to you, your problem was that you got he got run out at 116. He had a stop at 128 on Litecoin, and they did one of these extreme spikes. So I'm trying to find a specific tweet, and you will see it right here. And he's talking to me, Francis, how did this happen? And to one or two others. And he got super stopped out, and it killed him. Kraken, I don't like him. BitMEX used them. BitMEX used them and spoofed the market and would get super dips that allowed them on their... That's what they have allegedly been arrested for, by the way. In that case, I have less sympathy for them. If it's just that, oh, it's somebody American got on there and they was using a VPN, they hadn't detected it, I kind of feel a bit for them. But if it's about that, which I saw that there is an element of, they use the Kraken exchange as one of their core underlying values of BTC for running their derived market on, and then they can even spike things even further. This is what Kraken did to this man on Litecoin. Got a lot to show you here today. We're going to go into Bitcoin, Ethereum, but this is an important error. This is what's going to make sure you survive. The title says how to survive and then max out. There are a lot of landmines in mega bull markets that can kill you. You can come out of this mega bull market with 0 Bitcoin and a headache and have wasted a lot of time and less money than you went into it before. Trust me, a lot of people that don't know what they're doing can do it. And when you trade even outside the top 2 on sketchy exchanges, and I am calling Kraken sketchy, I know they've been around long, but there isn't enough depth in the delivery stack. You get one newbie moron who's got quite a lot of money, but then panic sells with an extra 0 instead, the whole stack gets run. Now that tends not to happen anymore on Bitcoin. It used to. It tends not to happen on Ethereum. It used to. Quite late into the bull, I saw Ethereum drop right the way down to $5 from $82 once, or some ridiculous amount, and people get stopped. You've got to watch the exchange that you're using. I don't do active trading on that platform. In fact, I don't like the platform. They won't love me for saying this. Don't like how they set it out. And the fact that MEX used them makes me inherently suspicious. And the fact that they allowed this to happen is not good. But I don't get caught by this because I'm not doing active leverage trading on much outside Bitcoin. I will do an active one trade on one particular token on one great setup that's not Bitcoin or Ethereum occasionally with a good setup. I won't be using that exchange, and it'll happen once. If you're actively everyday trading on this, it's a matter of time before such an event occurs. This is death. You can have a super closeout. You can have 1/3 of your Bitcoin left on one trade like that, even if you were correctly sized, trading some pattern, on account of one idiot hitting the stack who's new. There's a whole bunch of newbies coming on. That isn't all Kraken's fault, but there should be more depth to the token in the bid stack and the offer stack. And crypto is known for this. Please be careful. Big mistake, number 1 coming. And avoid the exchanges that allow it, that could be bullied and spoofed into big dips that benefited people that were trading against you on the derived platforms. There are people being arrested for that. Okay? Big warning. Watch out. And that's the other reason I don't spend a lot of time on the number 25 coin. I will take a Haven protocol, but it'd normally be a hodl, or I'll take one setup and I'll have that stop, and it'll be small and it'll have to be a super high reward, and I'll take that risk. And sometimes I might not even have the stop actually in. I'll watch, and it will be a small part of my overall trading activity. So even if it has a super spike back down, by the time I've noticed it, it's rallying back up. If it is something like this, you don't get hurt. Stops are good, and then there's a point that they don't serve you for events like this. So I do use them, but I use them where I know they can be reliably fulfilled. And that's a big lesson for you guys. That's part of your thrival. Sip of water required. So to Rob and all the other guys that are in that situation, watch out. Litecoin should be better, 5th biggest by market cap. On that exchange, it wasn't. Okay, good. Let's go to back to the charts. We were talking about Bitcoin. We were talking about the macro. So I've said to you, the 4-yearly cycle could be bigger in parts than even the first event. I said to you twice, and I still have to tell you the third time, you're going to sell too early. On your investment spot, you're going to get nervous by the amount of money you're making and you're going to sell too early. You should have, by law, by rule, in head, and this is not advice, this is just me talking and something we talk a lot about in our community. Link below, book a call. Your investment pot, your lukewarm pot, and your hot pot. Hot pot you should not be touching often. It burns, it's ow. You've got to be quick, and you've got to have your glove on, and you've got to know in and out, and you tax into the lukewarm pot. Lukewarm doesn't mean you have to use 5 times leverage. I've got one account that I don't like using their platform very much. I have 50% more Bitcoin with leverage. So if I have 1 unit or 1 block of Bitcoin, I add half again and I'm net long. That's a very chilled, in situ, lukewarm pot, an orange pot. And I have 1 or 2 others where I'm a bit more active, where I'll use the 3 or the 5x, and I'm rarely full available. You must never use full. You must always be well under. Anyway, so a bit of general advice. Let's talk about what happened today. Let's talk about what happened today and how we've been doing, getting hot in here. So this big move, many of you will be wanting to call tops. Yes, and we could get, heaven forbid, a 50% pullback down to these levels. It's not beyond the realm of possibility. I don't think it's going to be super likely. I think the pullbacks, instead of being the 35, 38%, even 29% type category of that scale, are going to be a lot less large. There's too much money that needs to work its way in, and that's going to point to occasional pullbacks, but of lesser size. So the key element is watch your leverage, have a reason for your trade. If you're using hot pot, it must be an in and outer. You must have a tight stop. It must be such that it will be fulfilled on a token that it will be fulfilled on a platform that's liquid enough, and it should have an asymmetric upside. Which brings me to the key inflection periods that you should have seen, you wouldn't have seen because you weren't in the community. And unfortunately, sorry guys, my crypto sniper push out on Twitter and even on YouTube has been quite low. We've been at it. This has been money making season, I'm afraid. And that means reduced output. So we've been super busy and it's been great. And it's been an amazing end of year trading. You know, all-time highs on accounts across the board, significantly more than the percentages moved. Judicious, light use of leverage at the right time. So let's go in and talk about those key inflection points on Bitcoin, because we're also going to be talking to you about Ethereum and its recent behavior as well as a highlight, which I think you're going to like and has been very, very significant. So what have you missed? Well, there were a couple of key events. And this is something you need to develop in your overall strategy. Inflection point events, where when you're in a macro bull scenario, the default assumption is long, regardless. We do not short, we go long. Okay, this is a macro bull. The dips will disappoint, we go long. So I will highlight to you a couple of key inflection points that you never knew existed. That we exploited in some cases very successfully and in some others moderately successfully. On the big time frame. Those were real sniper zones. And I'm going to drop the time frame just now, but I want to just see at the top line if any of those were obvious to you. Most people didn't realize that there was a huge asymmetric potential gain about to occur, which could be executed on an exceedingly low risk. And as I say, I've made the bulk of what I've done on Bitcoin. It's been Bitcoin dominance until just the last few days and Ethereum stirring and all of that. So it's been a Bitcoin dominance theme. So how many of you were aware that those had existed? Let's drop the time frame and show them to you on a lower level. And this theory is very, very new theory under development, and it's thing we spot, and I'm really excited about it. I'm looking forward to actually getting it recorded. We've done a lot of talk about it on the jump shares. I'm going to drop a little bit further still. 12 hours. Show you again. Here those shapes come again, and this should have been max out points for you. There's actually 4. The one was a bit difficult to spot. Those were key inflection points where in every instance the bias was a bull long, most of which we gave inside our community with leverage, some of which we were like, could be a little bit iffy, wait to see if it moves, if it triggers that level, then you're going long, if it triggers the other side, then you're going short. So we felt nervous on 1 or 2, there's no certainty at any point, but they all delivered hugely in the direction at the end of the day of our primary bias. And they aren't all involving HVFs, but many of them did. And one even involved a rising wedge. There actually was a trade here, there as well, which is already round tripped, which is the value of selling. People don't know when to sell when they're on leverage. Everybody knows how to enter. Entries are all about everything. Entries are useless until you've made money. A good entry is only a good entry until you've had a good exit. And nobody knows how to exit. And people talk about trailing stops. That is like driving with a handbrake on. It truly is. It's wasted effort. It takes you out of trades that you should be staying in, and it guarantees you're always getting out on a low end of the price behavior range. It is absolute killer for performance. I've proved it countless times. I talk about lines of efficiency, how your exits look. It kills performance. You never get out anywhere near close to your P&L high. It's very soul destroying actually, and I applied them for years, recognizing how bad they were, but not having a mechanism for more or for different. You can. Come and talk to us. Okay, so those were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major inflection points. We also suspected, because we'd done our key pause areas, pause area number 1, let's take a different color, came here, and we talked to you about it. I'll go with the arrow. That wasn't the most horizontal line, was it? It was 19.3s, depending on exchange. Still haven't drawn it at the right level, but it's a bit above that. That was a key pause area. Then our 25.7 was a key pause area that we shared with you. See anything interesting about those key pause areas? Once you're done hanging about at your key pause area, which you hit first time over here, and you had a substantial pause piece. This wasn't a perfect. This level was higher than that. This was really high set. Most people didn't see that. We went long with leverage there. We were rewarded greatly with it. This was a good structure setup. That was a good but a small one. Note how it was sitting on our key pause area. Over, through, pause. Now you're getting much more round trip volatility post your target. And what were we highlighting, going back to the sniper circle share? You were also on our overperformance band. You'll learn about how we trade for overperformance. But this was a key level. And you often set up fractals on the way down to lean against a level. If you're still sitting with your Bitcoin, you could have got out and you could have been buying back on the low end of the dip. You could have been getting out at 32,850. It was a concern. Or after, you know, if you acted immediately anywhere in the 32.5s, and you could have been buying back at the 28s. Look, I don't suggest you do that with your investment pot. That's why you have blue, orange, and red. And when you're busy and you're doing other things, you aren't all necessarily professional traders. Stand back, just your investment pot. Be off leverage, be calm. But it was a blow-off event that's round-tripped, and that's what I was saying to you. The volatility increases after the final target. So this is going to be harder now. There's going to be more surges, and there will be occasional fairly firm pullbacks. Not to the scale that most people are accustomed to, though, and many will be rebutted. Why? Because Jupiter has to squeeze into my coronavirus ball. New financial system is on its way. Klaus has spoken. Okay, let's have a look at some of your comments before I go to Ethereum and Ethereum BTC. Got out at around the level with that trade, said Dunamis. Yeah, Fernandez. No, they accused the management of not complying with current law. That was part of it, of BitMEX, but it was also, they were saying that they were spoofing on Kraken and causing spikes. I read that specifically in the indictment following the guy on Twitter. So that was one of the elements. So I think there's a few aspects they were attacking them on. So yeah. Good. So let's go and have a look at this man deserves grand salute, not just for cause but knowledge he shares. Thank you, Arrow. That's very kind. Let's have a look at BTC Ethereum. So a couple of things to share with you on this one. In fact, I need to do it on that over there. And we're going to go back to the 3-day. So I've told you that Ethereum in some ways in time will outperform, but you need to be Bitcoin dominant initially. That was the primary view in the beginning of this whole move when we broke in July, August, October, repeated in November, etc., etc. Most of you would have had a far more stable time. Bitcoin regularly in the top 3 when you compare the last 7 days up relative to all the next 25, often number 1 in fact, and much less volatility. Don't forget, XRP was number 1 for 7 days, not 1 week, but 2 or 3 weeks. How did that turn out? So this is exactly what I'm talking to you about. Bitcoin and Ethereum are the binary trades. So FBTC is, for us, likely to be an inverted head and shoulders. And we've shared this with you, I think, a few times. That's your left shoulder over there. That's a big head. We had a nice squeeze that gave us a break. We traded that. We biased for a period when we called the alt run on this channel. We said there's going to be a period in a window of alt. Ada was one of the first to move. And you got overperformance from ETH coming up for around the 22 levels over there, 22, 23, running up to 40s. So that's 2.2% of a Bitcoin versus 4%. I prefer to think of it like that. These zeros and these sats, people lose their minds here. 4% of a Bitcoin. Then we did a head and shoulder. Out Ethereum, Bitcoin dominance. Again. This is simply key basic moves. They don't have to be made every day. It's one decision every 3 or 4 months in this instance. You're in May here and you're getting out in September of your Ethereum bias over there. And you don't get out at the perfect tops. But the key part I want to show you before we go into that minutia detail of that head and shoulder that then occurred right there and brought us all the way back down to the target. Look at that target. You actually haven't closed on the 3-day chart below that target, but you've obviously traded well below it. Look at the buying wicks that have come in here repeatedly. You traded as low, you touched actually a funnel for us on the axis at 2.2, and then you got smashed up. This has been your right shoulder being completed. Where did you bounce into? You bounced into the legacy neckline on the last pump that let everybody down. You came all the way down, finished the head and shoulders target. You've come up again, and again you're fizzling at the 3.3, the Mason's number, and also the spike died on a legacy funnel for us. You can find out more about it, how we drew it, what's in it, all that stuff in that head and shoulder, more detail in our community and how to trade it. So the key thing is, right now, at a simple level for people watching, there is a case to be made potentially for Ethereum bias coming back in now. Now you had a huge surge and you've had a pullback. My suspicion is if we continue on and Bitcoin sets up a new continuation pattern, now that the first cup gold nugget paid, there might be a greater consistency of outperformance from a quality, well-established, highly liquid alt with real platforms, lots of use case, such as Ethereum. Okay, so that could see you pivot your almost 100% Bitcoin with a couple of, project gambles. That's what I call them, and they should be kept really small if you have them, to having more a 60-40 split, where 35 of that 40 is Ethereum. Okay, so where does it go if it's to break? Where does it go if it's to break? Well, I'll talk in percentages again. 6.6%. Now you might think, yeah, it doesn't sound so interesting. Well, it's 3.2 now. So it's half. And it's half of whatever Bitcoin's doing. So whatever you think Bitcoin's going to do in the time that it takes to get way up there, which I'd imagine is quite a bit of time, but not if we're going vertical like this, but it's quite a bit of time. We'll probably have, what's the flight path likely to be? Typical price behavior rules, up to the magic 4, pullback, little bit of a thought, maybe even support on the 33 again, might even create a new little wind up of some sort, and then we break the 4 and we get motoring. And we'll probably pause at 5%, quite potentially at 6 on the way to 6.6. By the way, a reversal that makes a target, it doesn't mean that that's it. It'll probably slow down a little bit after the 6.6, but you could have it at 10. Ethereum traded 15% of a Bitcoin. What's 15% of Bitcoin's price right now? What's Bitcoin's price right now? It's been bouncing around a bit, so I'm going to have to quickly double check. There we go. BTC 30,000. Call it 30,000. It's 30,000 and a half. Traded, I think, in the 28s after that collapse. We'll come to that on the shorter time frames in a minute, and the volatility and the gifts these will give you. They're gifts. They're not problems. They're gifts. They're only a problem if you leveraged the top and you didn't have money management. What are we, sorry, we're talking about Bitcoin, 30,000. If Ethereum gets to 15% of 30,000, what's that? Well, 10% is 3 grand, and 1,500, that's 4,500. If it gets up to 15%. If it even gets to 6.6% and Bitcoin remains where it is without any further movement, and this just goes up. So Bitcoin flatlines, goes a little bit up, goes a little bit down, just chills, doesn't do any dramatic selling or any specific pumping, and a whole bunch of months later, it's still there or thereabouts, 30K. To go to 6%, you do the maths. 1% is 300, 6, 1,800. 1,800 on Ethereum. Now, I think that assumption of Bitcoin doing very little is a dumb one. I think it will have gone up quite a bit. So you're talking 2,000s to 4,500, 5,000s potential Ethereum with this possible move. So you should contemplate it's potentially worth it. But it's fizzling now. It's fizzling a bit now. It got stung by those key levels of significance. So you must be clever about how you enter. Choose your time. And whether you're investment trading, it's different if you're leverage trading. Without method on leverage, you're going to get killed. We require structure, we require patterns, and that's the only way we can trade. So that we have a stop and a target. In this case, we'd trade all the way up to 6.6, and we'd probably expect to thrash around a bit and then be going long again. Because not only is this a reversal for here, for that target, it's a potential cyclical reversal, which, as I say, it could see it go 10, 15, and maybe beyond, because this is going to be a bigger cycle. So could Ethereum go beyond? And what will that mean for some of the other coins? You'll all get very excited about your others and your polka dots, and some of them will be shooting stars. I don't have to be in the fastest car. If it's going to have that Litecoin experience on a spike dip, why be there? You've got as much leverage as you need if you know what you're doing, and most of which I don't utilize. You're going to make tons of money. And the more the market cap, the less violent the swings. You saw Ripple, admittedly quite a big market cap. Now it's really quite a bit smaller, probably going to get eaten by DOT and Litecoin soon. You saw Ripple in its own way lose huge percentages, and the smaller coins are literally doing it every day. It truly is gambler stock. So I'll take an FBTC from a different exchange. That one is Bitstamp, and that says 12.3. I still don't think that's the longest history. I seem to remember, let me get a Bitfinex one up. I seem to remember 15%. FBTC, let's go Finex, one that had it for a while, or maybe even Polonex had it for a while. That's more like it. 15.3%. So if this reverses and all things take new highs, Apart from your 6.6 being a great target and a bit of pause, in time, you could indeed go even beyond. So kind of interesting for Ethereum. Do you really need to chase the small cappers for something that's got a huge team of dedicated devs? People are buying the hive mind of the best scaled team. Might is often right, guys. Let's have a look at some of your comments. Sold my alt setups before dump, says Mr. Blockhead. Should I use a bot to trade? Absolutely not. Simple answer. I can go into a lot more detail as to why, but generally I would avoid that. You don't need a bot to get you leverage long, and moderately so. And in most instances, it's going to create activity churn for the broker or the bot writer. You're going to pay a bunch for it. Performance can be optimized for one set of circumstances and be terrible for another. You're in a super bull. Most bots are maybe set up for more trading range markets with a bit of a trend. I don't think they know how to deal with super pump. They'll keep taking profits too early in general, depending on the rules. You'll be always RSI 90. They have dumb rules based on price behavior indicators. Really don't like that. Why do I post the dollar milkshake video? Because what the dollar does next is relevant for crypto. What's your personal opinion on XRP? I don't have much of opinion. I don't stay up to date with them. The fact that they continue to proliferate new sets of coins is a big turnoff for me. So there's not the same supply. They're sitting on a massive amount pre-mine. I don't really have a strong opinion. All I can do is when I look at them technically, they disappoint. And how many times is XRP disappointed? With pumps only to dump. I mean, these guys must have rubber necks, the XRP hodlers. They literally are whiplash. It's kind of like, it's like asking me to have a divorce every day. I mean, it's probably, you just had a car accident with lawyers and everything. And, you marry the next girl at a nightclub the next day, and you can go and repeat the process and give up half your toys and assets again. And you end up, it's like car accidents, jump in a new car. Can you crash it into the wall again for me, please? That's how I feel. In such a buoyant, investment-friendly environment, this is what you're getting. Since it's been listed on Binance, it traded a high of $1.50. And that was very in the early phase. And it's traded as low as 10 cents. And it's currently 23 cents. It doesn't have the smell of winner. Don't pick bottoms. Don't do the penny stocking. Don't need to do it. Proven winners win further. Look at like Tesla. And I'm not saying that's a good example of value. It's crazy. But it kept winning and going up. It's gone up 10x last year. I'm not saying it's value. I'm not saying you should buy Tesla. Actually, I'm petrified of what's going on there if we get a stock class. But just in terms of winners tend to win. Back your winners. Cull losers. Don't think losers are cheap. Let's buy a handful of losers. Think about it like that. It becomes easy. Yeah. So we're talking about ETH. Let's go back to ETH/USD. Let's have a little look at the live markets. Let's drop the time frames to capture the recent developments that have just occurred. Link below to become community member. Lots of detail, so much detail. Way. So, bit of a shooting star here. Let's have a little look. Now, Ethereum was lagging Bitcoin until it suddenly got very snappy on that right shoulder on ETH/BTC. So as Ethereum gets down to those low twos, 2.234, there's a massive wall of money that's prepared to buy it and sees it as value. How far up is it coming underneath that? Well, let's have a look what happened today, because it had 1,000 run and now there's hammers. That is, for me, it's a buy zone as a speculator, Ethereum. But not for people that don't understand leverage and won't have their stops on. So if my community guys are on here, you can now with those hammers say it's probably all done. Half. I posted on that It's probably all done now that you've got that hammer and a follow-up hammer. That doesn't mean it's going straight to moon now again. What do I expect? What I would most like to happen is the following. And I think there's a decent chance of it. So over leveraged hands, too excited. This is the other thing about when you get to F. It's going to be wilder swings and the volatility actually kills most of you. Truth be told, the bulk of the money so far for me has been made in Bitcoin. That might pivot a little bit. I'm not saying it won't, and I am going to be here. The bulk of the money has been in Bitcoin because the pullbacks have been small, good continuation setups, key inflection points that we've been able to identify, we've biased long on, even when they've been a little bit iffy. And I'm going to go back and finish that on a lower time frame. But just getting to Ethereum, I must make this chart a bit bigger. It's not the best draw, and I will make it log scale. It is log scale. Hammers, candlesticks work. People are prepared to buy it now at 900. By the way, a key inflection point that you all might have missed right here on Ethereum. In fact, let's get rid of that, please, that menu. Let me draw this for you. This was a dull old period right here, a bit similar to the setup for Bitcoin, a dull old period. Now you see that little extra segment that I've put on there. I'm just going to show you that, and then I'm going to take it off. That was your gift sitting in support of that. What happens when you're stuck in a kind of range, squeezing up, and the bias is long? You pop out of it just to test what happens, and you pull back to the level, return move, and then you get the small wind up. Remember the second best HVF? Way down there in 10,000, the little one that I did the first key inflection point draw with the orange circles. I'll show it to you again if you've forgotten it. That's one of those. That was your gift. Mega overperformance. Even if you fell asleep and you forgot about it, you're doing just great at 965, having bought at 765. Nice. You need to recognize these fractals of gifts that come, and they sit on top of grind line theory, which you know nothing about, but you can find out about down below. Book a call. So they combine, fractalize, small time frame. You have to know, you can't sit on a chart watching the 5 minutes. I don't do it. I'm sorry, I can't. But I recognize when there's key inflection points with key levels of significance, round numbers, and grind lines, which are slightly angled. They can be ascending or descending, and how to draw them. And when you recognize a key level of significance is about to be taken or has just been taken and you're sitting on, you can then get the sniper sight out and look through the sight. Snipers do not sit there with the rifle the whole time looking through the sight. Most of it is naked eye observation broad. They get to learn the whole horizon. They can see what's a tree and what's not a man. Then suddenly something new's on the skyline. They recognize it's square. There's a car, there's a jeep, or there's a soldier, or there's movement. So they have naked eye and binocular vision. The only time you get the scope up and you're magnified is when you're expecting a key opportunity event. You're sleeping through the key opportunity events because you're too focused when there's clearly no key opportunity events, and you can't sit watching for key opportunity events 24/7. You should know when the price behavior is behaving in such a way that you can go and chill and leave your positions to stand, and when you're going to get an opportunity for an asymmetric risk reward. Doesn't it make sense? And imagine you had a couple of hundred extra people helping you watch. That's why you're not making as much out of this bull, and Ethereum's already just about $1,000. And you should be better. You should be richer right now, because you could have seen this coming. You could have been watching, could have been catching some of these inflection points. That's what you're missing. But you don't want to spend any money for that. But you'll leave hundreds of thousands of unmade Bitcoin and Ethereum profits on the table. And that always makes me laugh. But you know, those that get it, and those that don't will keep learning. So that's the key inflection point gift that you got out of Ethereum. I want to drop in, and I'm saying to you, this actually isn't, but it's a value buy zone. Why? Because the market is showing us in its most negative moment, people are showing up and accumulating. So you're going to have to sit through some form of a recovery in my expected viewpoint and wait for a key moment, which if we're lucky will turn out something like this. And then you will have a key moment. And that circle, that sniper circle we're so famous for, will show up here. And the cross is there. And then we'll have a whole bunch of people watching right down to 5 minutes, if that's what it's going to do. If that's what it's going to do. You've got to be highly concentrated. And that's inconvenient. If the sun was shining here, you know, you might be wanting to go outside. And sometimes you have to go sleep. And you have to say, well, I'm going to have to let that one go. But maybe I'll just have something small with a tight stop in case it does that and take a little bit of a bigger chance and sleep on it. But those are the opportunities that are going. I'm going to show you those key inflections that you're not getting on Bitcoin as well. Let's go back to that Bitcoin chart on the lower time frame. So overall, it's going to go quiet. It's had a huge expansion of volatility. If I put in the volatility indicator, you had an absolute moon to the upside and a snap back down. You'll see how it's climbed. You need the calming to go. This is why we are hunt, volatility, funneling. Think of your protein shake and that filter on that you put in your shaker bottle over there. The funnel squeezes down. So you put a lot of powder in a broad area. It's got to make it into the bottle. The funneling is the great gift. The volatility is the gift. And the big asymmetric trades come out of price behavior compression. And I give you that for free. But you're still going to miss a load, and that's still okay. You get one or two, you'll buy your way in to the program, courtesy of what you've done watching these on YouTube. Let's do Bitcoin. Let's show you the key inflection points on the smaller time frame. Let's go right to the beginning. I call this the second most important structure. It was actually an HVF structure in the Bitcoin bull move. It broke and it feigned back just before that and made a little head and shoulder. That's to the left here. I've shown it before a number of times. That was your break and your feign back. This is all on the key level of 10,000. There's usually a key level. We'll teach you about the key levels that run through. Rising wedges, key inflection points. It's absolutely beautiful. The lines draw the entire structure for you. They even draw the sights, the crisscrossing, and it breaks through the middle of the crossing line. I kid you not, I'll even show you examples. This is the wisdom of having relevant horizontal levels and key established ascending and descending grind lines. So over here, this was the beginning of your break. Key inflection point. Pause, you got a head and shoulder type structure when super low volatility and we're in a macro bull. You laugh at it. Everything that's trying to tempt you to go short and then go super low volatility inside a macro bull is a pause point before a major move up. So there was your first key inflection point for upside. Big move, you get the bent up banana as I call it, that came later. We've covered this at length in community, but some of you will never have not seen this, and it's history now, so it's absolutely safe. I'm going to let that volatility indicator, I don't like too many indicators. It takes my mind off charts. Truly, I do. If I need it, I put it on and then I take it off. So everything gets suspected to be continuation. This was very confusing. Technically, most people would get this wrong, because there was a bit of broadening going on in there. That shows a bit of an increase in volatility. It quit, it squared up. So if I take those jaws off, squared up and it went. Bull bias, squared up and it went. Initially slow to start, then gaining ground. This was a much larger one and we were wary of it. Why? Pause area was made. It touched it 3 times. It reached for it, couldn't make it, pulled back hard, reached for it and straddled it, pulled back moderately hard, reached for it and supported it. 3 stages to passing a key level. Reach for it, don't make it. Reach for it, just make it. The bulk of the price behavior is below. Iceberging. Straddling. Supporting. Run. That was the key inflection point most of you missed for leverage trading. It was a gift entry. More and more. Wow. I mean, this has been so, can I just say to you, what Bitcoin has done in this move so far has been so Hunt Volatility Funnel Method compliant that it's a case study. It's actual lesson of case study. Every single way up, it's a case study. Including this, which I'll cover in a second when we drop time frame. Those were all leveraged entry points. All leveraged entry points. And you don't have to be crazy leverage. 50%, twice. But they're that good and you could get that tight that you could have been 25 times. And even bigger if you really want a white knuckle ride. Let's cover this last one. It was so beautiful. So we had a rising wedge, guys. We paused our way through. We clawed and grinded our way through in a rising wedge. I went through this with my premium guys a while ago, and you can have a little bit of an idea in retrospect now. That's the buying coming up really strongly. So instead of setting up a 3 impulse HVF, we get a 3 impulse rising wedge. So now that buyers are getting more and more must get Bitcoin, must get Bitcoin. Then inside here, there's 3 aspects to this. There's an HVF there, there's an HVF there, and then you get a squeezed up HVF, which is actually a rising wedge in there. You have the key round number of 30. That's the dark blue. And you have my transgender pink. That's this top dotted pink line on the 3rd impulse. 3 is a magic number. And now we get another subset of micro fractal 3 in that 3rd impulse. Boom. Right there, that dot there, the TG pink line axes are key level of significance line. One is a ascending, capping, ascending grind line. That is one segment of what makes a rising wedge. Who else teaches you the atomic components of technical patterns? It doesn't exist. It's taught here because it was originated here. You can't get it anywhere else. If you truly want to learn and understand price behavior, if you truly want to build wealth, you've got to love the process. Become good at the process. Love it that you do it for fun. The money comes. Chase the money runs. It's simple as that. Anybody who makes money is good at doing something. Simple as that. It's called the principle of energy flow and value add. So learn to love a process. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's aha moments all the time. That dotted blue line and that pink line that we drew gave you, and this doesn't happen once, it gave you the break point. The price behavior went straight through that dot in the middle. Look at it now and tell me I'm a liar. The price behavior went straight through that intersection of those 2 lines. You were catching the upside type 3 break. No one talks of all the different forms that wedges break. You can only learn that with us. You can only watch it being implemented practically. You can think you've learned a bunch by watching these videos. You haven't seen anything implemented practically. I'm giving you a small synopsis of what you're not getting and why you won't max out this year unless you take action. It's there. Have a method, be smart. Leverage can be exploited. Up, up, up you go. Then, of all things, inverted structure after a hard sell, you're going to probably have a spill. And you've gone through our overperformance bands. Defense. Did you know that? Maybe you did. You're awesome. I'd like to learn your method because I'm keep learning, I'm keep getting better, and we want to be better in how we serve our community in every way. This is how Bitcoin has rolled, beautiful people. That is it. It's its first high volatility pullback since running our working target. If you're not impressed by that, this is not for you. It impresses me because it's beautiful. It's like seeing a beautiful piece of work just all falling in together. And you need a template and you need a method to understand it. What are the comments saying? Now you see, you can ask me, is it safe to buy ETH at current price or do we expect? And you're asking for fish. Learn the skill, fish all day long. Have more fish than you can eat. Feed your neighbor, your entire family, and the whole district and sell it and be wealthy. Or ask me to answer and give you a fish. I can answer, but I'm telling you the key moment, the best moment. You're buying on value here. The buyers are showing at a candlestick level. This is not strong enough that I would go hugely in, but it's showing you at a candlestick level that there's buying support for Ethereum here. I showed you the wicks on the bigger time frame. It's hammers. It's going to probably recover. I've also suggested to you, you're going to get a continuation pattern. So when you ask me, is it safe to buy? You're saying, I want a fish. What you should be saying is, what do I need to do to get the methods that I can assess the market the way you're doing? So I don't need to ask you whether it's a good time to buy ETH. I can just assess the market and come to my own decisions. You need to learn the process if you want to do this properly. You won't be able to ask me every time. Not if you, especially if you're just on YouTube. I'm sorry, I get DMs on 3 different Twitter profiles, LinkedIn's, everything. I can't answer all that stuff. I don't even answer email anymore. It's too much, too many people, all want information, all want questions. And I have opinions and probabilities. And they all want to come back at you if it don't work out. So you have to understand. You can answer this for yourself. Ethereum has been supported here. In my best understanding, for this generalist point that we're talking about, after a high expansion of volatility, we're going to have a calming of the volatility with a slightly slower reinflation back up. A good return move would be 61.8% fib, where that is the 0%. And if I delete all these lines, the high point is the 100%. Anything beyond that, it's showing good relative strength. It's proving that the market got it just a bit skittish on a Monday and a whole bunch of people rushed in and profit took. They'd never seen so much money in their lives, although they could probably make a whole bunch more. And they snapped at it. So 61.8 shows that we're still in bull zone. How does that not happen good for Ethereum? And we have a possibility of a deeper pullback. I don't think that's high probability, but it's possible. Everything is possible. If you came around like this and you came down really hard and quite low, and then you had another week like that, and you're leaning on a floor, not a good set of circumstances for Ethereum. Do I expect that to happen? I'm more in the setup like this, and it could even be an ascending setup like that, because now everyone's brave again. But you need to learn this, and you have to respect the person who teaches you, and that's energy. I'm giving you a lot of free lesson here, but the truth is the magic is in the implementation, seeing it done beforehand and walking through it, and seeing it be wrong and seeing it be right, seeing the post-mortem, seeing the debrief every time we get an outcome, particularly if we get a wrong one. What did we miss? What did we learn? That's learning. That's skill. Do you want to learn? Do you want to be able to do this? Do you want to leave your job? Do you want to be wealthy out of reset? That's what you got to ask yourself. So I've answered your question and more. So will DOT outperform ETH in this bull run? Omar Sharif. Great actor. I'm sure you were told about him. Not sure if I've got a DOT ETH chart at the moment. We know they're competing in a kind of similar space. People ask the same questions about ADA. Let me add it anyway. So DOT's had a major surge. That's your answer versus .eth. For me, there's nothing proven in this yet. You've got an ICO listing spike, I'm assuming. That Kraken had it from the get-go. I don't know that for sure. You've had a little bit of fun and appreciation, and you've had a long-standing, this is a lot of shit coins against Bitcoin. And then you get a pump, and you've had quite a significant fizzle back. I don't think, despite big weeks recently, that you have to be in that. Will it do well? I think a whole shit ton of cryptos are going to do well. All the ones that are non-scams are probably going to do well. Jupiter needs to get into the coronavirus ball. That's a lot of planet that's got to squeeze into a very small space here, probably the size of my brain. So, it's not proven it to me. It's just had a pump. You see, you're all stuck on recency. Your mind remembers what recently went up. Ripple was this recently. Litecoin was this recently. The guy just got slammed out at $116 with a stop at 128. But they'll still do well. But if you're hodling it, you'll be fine. If you're leverage trading it, you need a perfect structure and one odd trade, fine. If you're day-to-day trading it, you're going to have an event. More likely to happen on DOT than Ethereum. And Bitcoin, probably the safest. So I do my leverage trading where it's safe. I go back to that lesson. This is not technical proof. That little pippy going up and fizzling back down, it's not technical proof. I know it's big numbers. I know if I get it up against USD, it looks great. Is there a setup right now? I don't know. I don't know. These guys are going to surge. None of them are going to surge at the same time. The only way you decide is DOT better than ETH is it proves it to you technically. I just did ETH BTC. Drew a pattern for you. This isn't proof. This is a notion, a possibility. If I invert the chart, it could look equally interesting. If you think that's going up, you actually want to be in Ethereum. The colors are obviously a bit wrong. I've just inverted the chart. You should be doing more chart inversions as well, guys, to deal with your bull bias. I've mentioned it plenty of times. Okay, last question, and then I'm going to head. We've got 782 watching. That's awesome. 782. I like that. I wish we could do 1,000 one day. I mean, I'm trying to drop some real gold bombs here, trying to help you get better to identify key inflection points and major events. Trying to get you focused on volatility and the squeeze for asymmetric returns. Is that useful information? Is it useful information? Help me. Hit the share button if you think it's useful. No adverts. No adverts. I don't get paid for this. I don't care. I love it. I love what I do. I love the process, and I like the idea that one or two of you will take something out of this. And you know what? The people that do are always very grateful, and they end up in my community. So I win in the end. I don't care when I get paid. If someone's a bit skittish and nervous about what he does it, I said, don't come on. I don't have to have your money. I really don't. Relax. Make some more money. Let it be something you feel comfortable doing. Don't do it. That's why we have 14 days back. That's why you don't have a salesman. You have another trader talking to you. And he says, if it's right for you, you'll do it. If it's not, relax. Come back in 6 months. See how it goes. Maybe you made a bit more. You'll feel more relaxed about it. That's the way of the game. Thoughts on ADA Cardano? Thoughts on ADA Cardano? So I'll look at a Cardano chart because we're on the Ethereum train. Because if I'm talking about ADA, straight away I'm thinking, well, am I not just better served being in Ethereum? We'll worry about what they've been able to achieve, etc., at a different point in time. In terms of who's, I read the reports. Fundamentally, these guys have got a real breakthrough. They're going to be faster, quicker, cheaper. A lot of people think that. That's okay. It remains to be proven. I don't just jump because people say their coin is awesome. They all do. It's kind of like UFC fighters talking trash. It's expected. So what's ADA done relative to ETH? This is your problem. It's range trading and it's at the bottom of the range. So is that proof of giving up more liquidity, ease of getting out, higher access to leverage, less likely of dip spikes if I do have a stop in? Is that proof for me to trade this? You might have thought so here. I might have thought so here. But what did it do? It died there for the third time. Show me you can hold above this level and build pattern structure to the upside, and I'll buy ADA with leverage. Break this red floor and Ethereum continues to kick your ass and it's the scale guy. I don't want to know your story. I don't care if you went up 13% against fiat. Fiat's not the benchmark. Fiat's going down the whirly gurgler with a big old flush and a stinky smell. That's where it's going. That's not my benchmark. How much Bitcoin are you worth? How much Ethereum are you worth? How many gold and silver ounces are you worth? Do you have a little bit? Bullion Vault link below. Go and buy. Thank you to the many of you that are. I get like $20 and I can buy an extra fractal of an ounce of silver. I appreciate it. And it doesn't come off your costs. You actually get a bonus, a gift for coming on an affiliate link. Isn't that awesome? The link's below. Keep doing it. Thank you. We both win. It's awesome. Have a little bit of that, by the way. Let me just show you something. Slightly off crypto. Bear with me. It ties in with anti-fiats. Ties in with the anti-fiats, guys. 778 of you. That's so good. I love it. Early in the morning like this. It's not early in the morning. I don't know. Maybe where you are, it's early in the morning. But it's great to have you all on board. This is what silver did after crypto had its great period. Let me just turn the crazy lines off. Gap open. Again, structure here. Investment long silver, trading long silver on this one. It also wins. It's less frenetic. It's nice to have some almost calmer trading. It can get a bit intense, the cryptos. Yes, set it on, set a stop for it. It's good and it's up. It's trading up. That's what it's doing. What's gold doing? 1938. Some people say it gets back above 1900. They're all bullish. We had that similar structure. It's virtually fitting with the lines I originally drew in. That's why we called it. I did a YouTube on Market Sniper. Are you sub to Market Sniper? You had that one for free. There it is. There's the line we drew it. And there's our TG Pink. Fancy that. Long, big time frame channel. I did a video and I said, coming to you soon on gold. It's still there. All my shit calls, all my good calls, they're all there. All my tweets. I haven't deleted anything. Good, bad, and ugly. There's people here that delete tweets and post both views. There's all sorts of connery. I said there's going to be a fractal, a small wind-up pattern that's going to bump up against this pink line, high probability, drop time frames, and watch for it. You're going to get an outside break from gold. I can tell you that. That's a fact. When Raul said he'd sold all his gold for Bitcoin, I said this is the bottom of the gold trading range. It occurred here. He's great, by the way. I'm not knocking him. But I just thought it was an interesting indicator of smart minds in such a Bitcoin bull flipping 100% all in. Wanting one fast horse instead of a stable of fast horses was what I said at the time. The value of the stable will be proven just because you don't have the very fastest one. It's still only one horse. A stable is better if horse riding is the game. I said there will be a fractal coming up against our TG Pink long channel with a splitter. No one else splits it. We teach you why. There's so much you don't know that we give you as tools. And there's so much crap that you do know that needs deprogramming in every realm. I don't know everything, don't get me wrong, but in technical, I love it, and I specialize in removing the crap that people put on with RSIs and moving averages. There's nothing a moving average ever should do for you in terms of making a decision. I put moving averages only on volume. People hate me for saying that. Oh, you're offending. No, it's my favorite. No, I'm not attacking anybody as a person. I'm just telling you, been there, done that, thrown out. People keep accumulating crap. Get rid of the crap. Minimalist, clean lines with all the most awesome stuff. That's it. That's why Swedish design is big. Clean lines, only the best. That has to be there. Otherwise, clean surfaces. There's your fractal. There's your break. They said Bitcoin, gold is over. I don't get involved in this Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff was a little bit stupid by antagonizing crypto guys. Mike Maloney played it smarter for me. It's anti-fiat. Bitcoin will go up. Gold will go up. If you're asking me, I'm not getting involved in the personality. I'm not trying to upset Peter Schiff and hand out plaudits. Neither of them care. They probably don't know who the hell I am. It's fine. But the point of the game is anti-fiat will flourish, and a portfolio, a stable, will serve you well. Because there'll be days when you get hard hitbacks on your crypto that your gold just steadily working its way out seems like a reliable friend if you're making a mistake. Okay? Just be warned. Electric grid takedown, monitoring, everything. There's something to be said. That's what's happened since that Market Sniper YouTube video. Bottom called, fractal called, bottom was in, break out the top of the range. That doesn't mean we get everything right. It's not meant to sound like a brag. I'm not interested in brag. I get called out all the time. We're wrong, we're wrong, we're wrong all the time. That's what you can do and learn when you have a little bit of an understanding and the thought processes you can get. It's all down to what you want. This is going to be the greatest trading year if you have half a degree of understanding of the power of method in times like these in a hyper bull. And you can lose your money in a bull market if you incorrectly utilize leverage. Believe you me, I've done it in my early years. I've done it. I've done it. I've been aggressively long the pound in an upward swinging market and ended up with less money. So I've made every stuff up. And I know why I have what I have. So there's no guru, there's no born geniuses around here. Okay, what are your final questions? UFC fighters talking trash. RK likes that. You can bury metals and no one would ever know. Exactly. Monero and dark market equals insane price. I think Monero, when everybody realizes the draconian reset, and that's the value of all three. Are you protecting your crypto money? I started saying that. They're going to clamp down. They're going to clamp down. You're being allowed to make money. They're going to come for super tax percentage value of it. What are you doing about protecting yourself? If you 10x your Bitcoin net worth through a variety of trading Bitcoin with light leverage and Ethereum, and we're now talking at the end of the year, like we've just finished, in 1 year's time, what do you think is going to happen on the regulation front? You've got exchanges delisting Monero. You've got guys doing KYC. You've got people, and I mention him because I follow him and he's great, but he talks of, guys, KYC accepted. This is the real vision, guys. If you want this place to grow, all the regulators, the crooks, the custodial services, all that stuff's going to get injected into your coronavirus ball. It's no longer Mr. Libertarian, your money. And it's blockchain, it's flipping open source banking. That's what you've got. Open source banking. Privacy is dead, baby. Ever since they gave you the recording machine in your prisoner tag that you carry around so religiously with you, they're busy listening to me preaching right now on 5 different devices. They're getting sniper in quadraphonic stereo, man. The bots are listening. If I say the dangerous word, it'll get an alert and a flag and it'll be spat on some minion Oxford graduate or Harvard graduate, wannabe control structure, son or daughter of some big ass family. Let me tell you, Monero will have its day for use case for people that have made money. I like it. I think it's going to do great. I think privacy is one of the most sacred things that you're seeing the least of. It's almost over. It's almost over. We're all on open source banking and government UBI soon. So, Jack Ma is sleeping. My plan for 2021 is to lose most of my cryptos in a boating accident. Yeah, I don't know how boats kill crypto, but never mind. Maybe that's for gold. Have it all in the hull and then say you were sailing just above the Mariana Trench and it's now 26.8 miles down underground. They can gladly fetch your tax payments there. Digital identity going to be the fizzer. Yeah, passports, digital identity, health records, man, your little Lucifer rays shiny under your arm when infrared light pointed, it's all going to be there. Your whole story is going to be written on your arm. Yep, guys, that's it. So let's take you back for final points. Bitcoin dominance, what happened with that Ethereum pump? That. Little bit of a knockback for dominance. ETH dominance looks very much like. And the nice thing about ETH dominance, guys, is that it has the other alts in it. So I just got a question. Polkadot or Ethereum? ADA or Ethereum? Well, I'm just saying to you, this is the reversal of ETH dominance, which not only will probably have Bitcoin in it, but it'll have the rest of the market cap. If my understanding of this is correct, it will be percentage of all market cap. So how are the other alts doing? Well, this looks better. This here looks better. Whoops, let's lose that Fibbo thing. This looks better than the Bitcoin one. Because obviously Bitcoin has been overperforming and been the dominance, which is what we guided you to do. Tell me we haven't said that. So we've been accurate. This is actually triggered. What typically happens when you break a neckline? How many of you know? Just simple 101 technical analysis. Let's look in the comments. Klaus, Dr. Evil. What typically happens when you break a neckline on a move? Tell me what you think. I'm watching the comments. You're a couple seconds behind me, so I'll wait a wee bit. What typically happens? You can get acceleration, you can get boom, but then Andreas nailed it with retest and then moon. He got the retest bit right. Because you're fizzling a wee bit at the moment. I can drop the time frame to the 3-day again, which is half a week. You retest, you come back to that level, 13% of markets, that the overall market cap. Ethereum is 13% of the overall market cap. What does it stand to become? Well, I'm asking you, if it's going to become 19% of a coronavirus ball that's soon going to be a beach ball coronavirus, would you want, assuming that the ball's getting bigger like a beach ball from my current bouncy ball, and it's going to go from 13% of this to 19% of that, do you really think you have to play Polka or ADA? You could, but you got to be really sure, because that's going to be 6% on top of 13. It's going to be 50% more significant. And that isn't the end of it. That's the next stage of run. It's going to be 50% more significant. Is ADA surely going to be, for all the downsides, less liquidity, stops getting hit on dips, a la the Litecoin man, Mr. Rob, ex-student, by the way. I'm upset for him. But how badly do you want to trade all those other things and much harsher pullbacks and much more volatility? Are you really going to get it? Go where the stable, solid, and stable is very much a relative concept. To use that word in the context of crypto is almost lunacy. But 19%, I'm taking 19%, bud. I'm taking 19% of the future total market cap for bloody sure. I don't have to look further. I don't have to look further. You know, in the beginning of your life, you need to sample and try everything and do everything and a little bit of this, and it's all about variety, all about variety. Then just do the smartest thing. You don't have to do the dumb shit. If it's put to you clearly, why do you want to do dumb shit? Potentially dumb shit. Polka could overperform. But then there's a whole bunch of other coins that are going to be left hectically behind. So Ethereum's going to be eating more of the total market pie, market cap percentage pie. Who's given up? Bitcoin a bit, maybe. I don't know. But some of those others aren't going to do as well. That's all I'm saying to you. On balance of probabilities, some of those others are losing percentage. Makes sense to me. I'll stay with a grower. Okay. Yeah. Why? He studied and then he's implementing. You don't have to stay every year on and on and on. There's a small monthly. That's why he's an ex-student. No mystery. We didn't shoot him. He's still a good guy. People do what they want to do. Yeah, hope that helps. Sean says it helps. Pleasure, Sean. Gratitude's an amazing energy. Good things come to people that can say thank you. Manners is underrated. Gratitude is king. So on the shorter time frame, if we look at this, it's quite possible. We did get our return move already. You might have already had your return move. Will you get more of a return move? Maybe. Note how you break with momentum. This is your F dominance chart still. You break with momentum here. You surge, you come back, you revisit. You should have been in there because we've triggered. This is a triggered pattern. We'll teach you what triggering means. That the event is now in play. The race has started. That's the firing of the gun. The only way you can get in once the gun's been fired is if it comes back exactly to the start point, which you sometimes get a second chance. We teach you about 5 stages of a breakout. You've got so much to learn, guys. Let's get started. I'm done. I hope this was useful for you. I hope you like it. You can max out this year. You can properly max out retirement. I don't care if you only have 0.1 of a Bitcoin. If you learn and apply skill sets, you can go to a huge level that can quantum leap save you. But you can also absolutely do damage to what you have within the absence of method. And I am not regulated. I am just a teacher of a set of skills. That's all I am. If you want to know more, you go and book a call. Otherwise, if you're happy with what you're getting for free, and you're not sure if there's any more potential to be had, good luck, and I wish you well, and I hope you make money because you are part of my community on an extended sense, and we thank you immensely for sharing. Many of you do. Truly great. Don't forget your bullion vault. Grab some gold and silver. Klaus has plans for you. The great hack. It may affect blockchain. It may affect Bitcoin. It may affect bank accounts, what you currently have in there. It may affect a lot of things. You have to say, oh, we lost all the money. The Russians hacked and the North Koreans with their one computer have taken all the money out of all the Western banks. Oh dear, we have to close the financial system. Well, it seems we still have your mortgage though. That didn't get hacked. It seems you still owe us money on the house, but I will write it off. But now you're a tenant and you can have some UBI. And also you must come in for your 3rd update on your vaccine. And we've noticed you didn't carry your tracking device on you that one time, and you came in contact with somebody when you went to the shop over there because we're following you everywhere you go. And actually one of the people about 500 yards away in the other corner of the shop we think might have had COVID. We heard them cough and we assessed it, and they had a bit of a temperature. So you need to come in with a follow-up because actually there's a new strain really. All that shit going on. What you need to do, earn some money, buy some freedom. Time to start now. I salute you. Bye-bye.